I will pass it over to Craig Cope with a quick intro for you. Craig?
Thank you very much, Justin. My name is Craig Cope. I am the publisher of the Hardware Connection magazine, the industry's leading 100% digital publication. For our readers, our February issue will be coming out at a week from tomorrow, so look for that. We have a lot of great features, and we're excited for the new year, as I hope everybody else is. We're also pleased to be working with Daniel Carnes from Retail Automation, and I'm going to turn it over to him so that we can get this started so that you can take in some of the great information that they have developed for you. Go ahead, Daniel.
Thanks, Craig. Hello and welcome. Daniel Carnes from Retail Automation. We're based at a beautiful, although cool and rainy, Zelienople, Pennsylvania. Small town just north of Pittsburgh. Retail Automation, we specialize in hardware stores and lumber building materials. Since 2000, when we introduced our point-of-sale software automated business system. We provide solutions including inventory control, network security, managed print services, and now with our partnership with Sensormatic Solutions, loss prevention services, or LPS. In talking with a lot of people, retail theft, it's kind of the elephant in the room for many stores. They know they're losing inventory, but don't think it's that much, or they're afraid to find out who's taking it, or they feel it's not worth the expense of investing in an EAS system. Today, Wilfredo plans on discussing a few products Sensormatic offers and the solutions they provide to protect your assets and people. These are mostly scalable solutions and may be able to complement parts of an existing system you may have, such as a camera system. The intelligence and reporting capabilities really made my geek meter go off when I first learned of these, and it may do that for you as well. So without further ado, we're going to head to sunny South Florida, where we are going to throw it over to Wilfredo. Wilfredo, go ahead. Wilfredo, you there?
Wilfredo, can you hear us?
Yeah.
You're cutting in and out a bit there. I'm seeing a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey. Jeffrey, if you wouldn't mind just muting your mic. Thank you so much. I think there may be some feedback.
For bandwidth purposes, hopefully that'll help it, but not sure.
Hey, Wilfredo, I think we're good now. I think there might have just been some other noise coming in over you.
Okay. All right. So, Justin, let me know if you have any problems with the audio there. I can still hear a little bit of background noise. Not sure if it's from your side, but let me know if you're having problems with my audio. Anyway, so as I was saying, what I want to walk to you today is what, like Daniel mentioned, we want to talk about some of the loss and liability solutions that we have to offer within our portfolio and touch base a little bit on the inventory intelligence, because we think you might be able to take advantage in the DIY business and hardware business. We also do shopper insights. Those are the three technical verticals that we work with. So we have that availability if you want to have some side conversations with Daniel later. But what we're going to focus on today is mainly on the loss and liability. And like I mentioned, we'll touch base lightly on some of the inventory solutions. So when we go into the loss and liability, obviously, these are solutions that are mainly intended to help with shrink, mainly external theft and some internal. However, when you combine it with some of the video solutions and some of the other analytic solutions, you're able to address some of the vendor fraud, administrative error, and obviously this helps your business, preserve your profit, and also improve the operations. And within the loss and liability, we have several solution sets that I want to touch base on. So we got the electronic article surveillance, which is EAS. I'll touch a little bit on video intelligence, and I also want to touch on source tagging, because there is a lot of source tag product in the DIY space, and we believe that you could take advantage of that and leverage that product that is already tagged to come into your store. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. Now, electronic article surveillance, or short for EAS, this is not a new technology. It's been around for 50 plus years, and but it is a technology that has proven to work in the retail space. It actually does reduce mainly the external shrink, and that is something that has been proven over and over. And retailers that are removing their EAS have been proven that it has been a mistake. And I'll point out Home Depot, who's been very public about doing this. Home Depot, as of 2 years ago or a little bit more, they abandoned their EAS program. And shortly after that, they started removing systems from their stores. They didn't remove from all the stores, but I think they ended up removing like 100 plus stores. And you may have noticed, I think it was last year, where they had to announce within Wall Street that their shrink was affecting their bottom line because they had abandoned their EAS program. And right now they are in the process of reinstalling EAS systems in those stores that they have removed them, because obviously that is one of the big contributing factors of why their shrink had skyrocketed to the point where they had to explain it to Wall Street why that, and it was affecting their bottom line. So, as you know, electronic article surveillance consists of the tags that go on the products, the devices that go at the POS to either remove the tag or deactivate it, and the detection systems that go at the exit. Now, our systems nowadays, they're not like they were 50 years ago, where they just provide a beep at the exit. They do a lot more. So now a lot of our systems have the capability of counting people as they're coming in. So you could take advantage of the traffic sensors that are embedded in the actual pedestals to be able to use them as people counting. Also, those same sensors, they are used to help with power management of the system. So when nobody is walking in between the system, for example, when the store is closed and not operation, the system will go into low power mode and help you reduce your carbon footprint and help you with the power consumption. Also, we could now enable different features that help address organized retail crime theft. For example, our systems have the capability of detecting jammers, and jammers are devices, electronic devices that organized retail crime ring or somebody that's coming with premeditated theft in mind. And they enable these devices on the vicinity of the system while another person is walking out with tagged merchandise without being detected, because the idea of the jammer is to make the system inhibit. So when a tagged product is going out the door, it doesn't set off the alarm. Well, our systems have the capability of detecting these jammers when they are enabled, and they could provide a unique alert to store personnel to let them know that one of these devices has been enabled, and look for anybody lingering around the door and ask them to please move away. Now, again, these are tools that maybe are being used in some stores, and you won't know it as a retailer because they don't not leave any evidence behind. Like, for example, when tags are peeled off from products, or tags are removed and you find them around the store, then you know obviously that there's some theft because there's some evidence left behind. So these are sort of like silent theft methods that you would not have any evidence or have no way of knowing that they're happening in your store. The other thing that we do now with video, with EAS, is we integrate it with video. Not only do some of our pedestals have the capability of adding a camera attached to the actual pedestal, but they also have the capability of integrating that video with the event that is occurring at the door. So now you could go to the VMS and have all the alarm events indexed, and you could look through the events to see if you're interested in a specific event in particular. No need to look through hours of video, because you would have all those events indexed on the VMS. Another one of the benefits of EAS nowadays is that they also have the capability of adding RFID to them at the time of installation or in the future down the road. That's if you have in mind implementing an RFID program, be it for inventory intelligence or for another type of use case within the store. And RFID as EAS, which is basically getting the visibility of what is walking out the door as opposed to getting a beep, which is what RFID will give you at the door. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the inventory intelligence piece. Okay, so now let's go and talk a little bit about source tagging. And I want to talk about source tagging because it's a big benefit for retailers, and it is huge benefit to the hardware and DIY marketplace. Why? Because there is a ton of products that are currently being source tagged. And as you may know, the source tagging program has been in place for over 25 years. And it was a program that was pioneered in part by Home Depot. And currently Home Depot and a lot of the major DIY retailers, all the product that is received at their store is product that is tagged at the source. Now, the process of source tagging obviously is applying the security label, the AM or RF label, during the packaging or manufacturing process. Some products have it inside the packaging, other products have it inside the product itself. So even if the box is removed from the product, if the product is removed from the box, I'm sorry, they would still set off an alarm at the exit because the label is embedded inside the product. Now, most of the products are source tagged with AM. Obviously, AM works slightly better in DIY space and home improvement than other technologies, and that's mainly because there's a lot of metal in that type of retail vertical, and metal is not very friendly to RF or RFID technologies. That's why AM has been the best adopted technology for this type of retail vertical. Now, here, as you see on the screen, these are some of the benefits that you have from source tagging. Obviously, increase in sales because now the product is protected, so it's less likely to be leaving the shelf or being stolen. There's less shortages, meaning less out of stocks because the product is protected. There's a significant reduction in or savings in labor because everything is coming already tagged. There's no need to incur in labor at the store level to tag that product or keep it in the back of the store until the product is tagged and ready to be on the sales floor. And obviously, there's an improved customer experience. If you got customers that are looking for product and can't find it because it's a hot product that is stolen oftenly, obviously you're going to end up with customers that are not very satisfied. So those are some of the benefits of the source tag program that we have. Now we have a huge list of products that are source tagged. And one of the advantages of this is that you can start taking advantage of these products that are already have a tag embedded and start bringing those into your store when you implement one of these EAS programs. Now, the other benefit is that if there were products that you currently have issues with related to theft, where you are losing a product at a high volume and it is not source tagged, you could also work with the manufacturer and we could help you in that particular instance, and we could work with the manufacturer to make sure that that product is certified, and we could source tag it to ensure that when it's received at your store, it does have the label embedded inside the packaging or inside the product, if that's what is required and it is possible. Okay, so that is a quick view of what our source tagging program looks like. Now, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about video intelligence. Now, obviously, EAS has a lot more to talk about. It's actually, I'm sorry, I wanted to talk about one more thing about EAS, and that was our reporting platform, which is called Shrink Management as a Service, or SMAS. So SMAS is basically our reporting platform that collects all the data from EAS devices within the store. Not only the detection systems, but the deactivation devices at the point of sale, or in cases stores that have electrical detachers, we could connect those as well and be able to monitor those and be able to know what's actually happening with those devices in terms of cycles and activities. Now, our SMAS solution, it's all cloud-based. It's all hosted on the Google Cloud, so it's very secure. And the idea behind this reporting platform is dual purpose. One is to have visibility of everything that is connected onto the network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and be able to monitor those devices and ensure that they are online, and also to provide reporting into the of those systems. So our remote diagnostic centers, we have several around the world. The idea behind these is to monitor all those devices and ensure that they are working at all time. Stores that operate a very good EAS program, what they do in the mornings is they test their system to ensure it's working before they open up their store. What happens if the system goes down in the middle of the day, be it power issues, be it noise issues, or any other external issues? Well, they won't know that that system has a problem until they test it again next morning. Well, the remote diagnostic sensors in our case, and by the SMAS system, the retailer will be able to get that system up faster and running on that same day, because our RDC, or remote diagnostic sensors, are monitoring the systems 24 hours a day and ensure and get an alert once the system is not behaving properly, and they're able to do remote remediation to ensure that that system is back online and get it back working and ensure that it's protecting your stores at all times. Now, that's one of the benefits of the of SMAS, is having that visibility and that peace of mind that that investment that you've made in EAS is working at all times and ensures that you don't have any problems. Some of the issues that we have, or that retailers have, is sometimes the devices at the point of sales, which are intended to deactivate the tags when they are paid properly. Sometimes they'll get accidentally disconnected or intentionally by the store associate. And a lot of time what that will do is it will create alarms at the doors for honest buying customers. And obviously, an honest buying customer does not like to be embarrassed by alarms at the door. So that creates a customer service issue. So by having this ability of being able to monitor all these devices, you ensure that you reduce those situations to a minimum or can eliminate them totally. Now, that's the side of the diagnostics. Now, when we talk about the reporting, then the reporting, now you'll have visibility of everything that's going on in terms of the reporting of the systems. You'll have visibility into the alarms that are occurring, how many are organized retail crime related, how many, the exits, the number of alarms. You could determine patterns. If there's a high number of alarms in X store, you could obviously call that store manager or loss prevention manager to verify why is the reason why you're getting high number of alarms. And that basically allows you to identify trends and identify how well the systems are being used or managed at a store level. This also allows to identify organized retail crime rings that are operating in certain areas or regions. How? It will show when organized retail crime events have occurred in specific areas, and you have visibility to that as a retailer. And if you have stores in the vicinity where these events are occurring, you can alert store personnel to be on high alert, because obviously there's an organized retail crime ring operating in that area, and hopefully reduce any theft that may occur once one of these rings comes into your store. Okay, Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. Hold on, there's a question on the chat. Years ago, when we installed outdoor detectors, we had to go to a competitor of yours because the distance required from our aluminum doors. Your requirement had to be 6 feet, which was not feasible based on how our entry and exit is. Has this changed? Yes, we do have outdoor systems that can be installed at 2.5 meters, which is about 8 feet and 5 inches. And we also have outdoor systems that can be installed pedestals at 9 feet separation. We also can do, if there are openings wider than 9 feet, then we could do what is called a combination of concealed systems and pedestals. If you notice, when you go to the contractor exits of Lowe's and Home Depot, those exits are typically, or those openings are typically around 20 feet, and you'll see 2 pedestals at the extreme ends of that opening. Well, in between, you have pedestals concealed under the floor. And actually, they're not actual pedestals. Sometimes it's just a wire that's under the floor. So the way it's done, once a store is existing, you could basically do some saw cuts, bury the wire in those saw cuts, and that's all that is needed in terms of floor cutting. And that would be able, we could extend that to almost an unlimited amount of coverage. But just using pedestals, we can cover up to 9 feet. If you need more than that, and you have to have an unobstructed entrance, then we could use concealed system. If not, we could continue to use more pedestals to cover the area. Okay, hopefully that answered your question, John. Okay, so we'll switch gears. We'll stay on loss and liability, but we're going to switch gears a little bit here and move from EAS to video surveillance. If there are any other questions on EAS, feel free to put them on the chat. I'll try to catch them here as I'm moving on to video intelligence. So video intelligence has multiple purposes, and if you are familiar with Sensormatic portfolio and our Tyco safety products portfolio of video, we do have an expanse portfolio of video management systems, cameras, and so on. And here you're going to see a number of different use cases, what those cameras are used for, not only for security, but obviously slip and falls. They're used for unattended deliveries, to determine areas that customers are not supposed to go into, for example, line crossing. But what I wanted to focus today's conversation is around our computer vision VisionWorks solution, which is an AI solution that we launched last year, and it's a collaboration with Intel. So it's Intel hardware with our algorithms from Sensormatic. And this VisionWorks is a computer vision system, which basically allows you to use the existing cameras, and by just installing a small appliance hub, you could have access to what we call agents. And agents are basically sort of use cases that can be used in the retail space that are used for loss prevention, for inventory, for traffic, as you could see there, and customer service. Now, vision agents are used like for all those different type of categories. For example, safety and compliance, we have an agent that is for mass detection, which obviously now, because of the pandemic, a lot of retail stores, or most of the retail stores in the country, I should say, are required to have your customers that are coming in have some type of face covering. So there is an agent designed to detect that people are coming in with face coverings into the store. There's one part of safety compliance that is around social distancing. So when line queuing and people standing in line for the POS, ensure that they are keeping that 6-foot distance that is required as part of the social distancing. And what that does is it helps managers ensure that their employees are enforcing these mandates at a store level and see how well they're doing. Obviously, if there's local ordinance that require people to come in with masks, you don't want to have the store full of people or lots of people in the store without masks, because that's actually a liability for the store. Now, audience sentiment, that is more a customer service, that is to determine the the sentiment of a person in front of a display. It could be a display of the latest gadget for smart homes, or a new tool display, or an end cap that has a new product. And that basically, with a camera that is pointing to that display, it could measure the sentiment of the person to see what is the reaction when they see the product, and also what is the demographics. Is it male, female? What is the age range? And basically, that's what that agent. And agents around traffic are intended to measure perimeter traffic and also measure traffic behaviors inside the store in terms of hot spots, which ways are your customers going when they come into the store, what is the dwelling, where are they hanging out the most and stopping the most. Then we got agents around inventory, and that is intended to ensure that, or help you avoid being in out of stock situations. For example, shelves that have products that are either high priced and you keep very few on the shelf in an effort to try and mitigate losses, or products that are high sellers. Once the camera sees that that shelf is empty, it could create an alert for store personnel to go ahead and replenish that. And then around loss prevention, obviously there's a lot of use cases, including shelf sweeps, loitering, and among others, including person of interest. So if you get people that are coming into the store and setting off alarms as they're leaving, then that could be booked as a person of interest. So next time they come in, you could create a real-time alert and alert store personnel to give good customer service to that particular person. Okay, we got some other comments here on the chat. Do you have local reps that can visit the store and do an assessment walkthrough? Absolutely. We have technicians all over the country, and we could work with you to do a survey and make sure that we could do that. And I believe Daniel will help you with that as well. Okay, so that is what I wanted to talk to you on the video side, mainly around the computer vision. Again, we do have a very wide portfolio in terms of what we have to offer in terms of video, and we could work with Daniel and our team to ensure that we meet your needs. Okay, so now I will be switching gears from loss and liability and move on to inventory intelligence. All right, so inventory intelligence, the idea behind an inventory intelligence which uses RFID is to mainly reduce the out-of-stock situations in the store and avoid frustration with customers that are looking for merchandise and can't find it. And obviously, a lot of times you're out of stock is because retailers do not know what they have or do not have in stock with high accuracy. Obviously, better stock levels will translate to more sales and obviously an improved customer experience. Now, within our inventory intelligence solution, which by the way is also run off the Google Cloud, we can offer a solution that is easy to implement at a store level. There's no software that has to be implemented locally, so no need to intervene with your IT level, with your IT personnel. So it's all cloud-based, so there's very little IT intervention that needs to take place to implement one of these solutions. And it could work as simple as a handheld device and obviously the tags for the products. Now, inventory visibility has numerous use cases. And the basic one of them is on-floor visibility. That's obviously ensuring that what you have in your system of record is what you have in stock. But you all know as retailers that gets affected dramatically by losses, by cashier errors, distribution center errors, and other vendor frauds that actually contribute to that distortion on the on-floor visibility. So especially if you're a retailer that are selling online and picking up in store, is very important to have an accurate inventory. Obviously, if you're making a promise to a customer that you have this product at your store and you're going to send them to your store to pick it up, you want to make sure that you're able to deliver in order to keep that customer satisfied. All right, so the basics or the bread and butter of inventory visibility is on-floor visibility. However, you could see that there's other use cases which are considered secondary use cases, but the most important one, or the one that provides the more value, is the on-floor visibility. Now, we've had DIY retailers that have approached us and have done pilot tests with inventory visibility. They mainly are interested in knowing what's happening in their tool corral, especially on their power tools. What we've heard from the major DIY retailers is that that is their high shrink area in the store, and they like to know with high accuracy what they have in inventory, what they're losing, and they like to keep that in stock at all times. So that's one of the areas that inventory visibility is very useful for in the DIY and hardware space. However, there are other areas, especially inventory visibility comes in very handy where you have areas that have complex categories. And complex categories is that you have a lot of different variety of product on the shelf. For example, light bulbs is one that is considered a light bulb, is a complex category. Faucets is another one that is a complex category, that you have all the different types of faucets, colors, styles, and so on. So these are areas that can be used to implement an inventory visibility program to sort of ensure what's in stock and keep those that product on shelf and have high visibility of what's going on. So here's some of the use cases in terms of what we do with inventory visibility. So obviously, cycle counting is probably one of the most important use case that we have within the inventory visibility, and that ensures that what you have on the sales floor is what's actually on your system of records. A lot of times when you have theft, obviously that system of record does not get adjusted. If you have vendor fraud or distribution center errors where they shipped you too many or too few, you will have distortion in your inventory. And your system of record will tell you what you were supposed to receive, but your sales floor will show some other numbers. So by doing a cycle count, what you're doing now is you're reconciling what you have on your sales floor with your system of record and ensuring that if you are selling online, that you are selling with a high accurate inventory. And if you're sending a customer to a specific store to pick up the item that you promised or you sold online, that there is a high accuracy or high probability that that item will be in that particular store. So cycle count is the ability of using a handheld device and basically counting all the products that are tagged within the store to reconcile it with the system of record and ensure that what you are showing in your record is what you actually have online. If you do have discrepancies, which will happen a lot of times, you can at least reconcile your system of record and make sure that it's as update and accurate as possible. Now, there are some other use cases as well within the inventory intelligence solution that you could also take advantage of. For example, storefront visibility. Now we're combining the EAS system with your RFID system, and now you could know exactly what's walking out the door opposed to just having a beep at the door. As many retailers do, they recommend or they tell their employees not to leave the lease line if somebody commits theft, even though they saw them. Obviously, it gets very dangerous once you get outside the store and in the parking lot. So rather lose the merchandise in an effort to try to prevent any harm to the person. So what happens with that theft? Obviously, the loss of the theft, but the other side of that is that if it was the last several that were on the shelf, now you're in an out-of-stock situation, and you won't know what you lost until you do an inventory or a cycle count. Well, now this system at the exit can tell you exactly what you lost. And even though you don't recover the merchandise, you can replenish the stock, your shelf, and avoid being in an out-of-stock situation for long periods of time, and obviously having lost sales because of merchandise that is no longer on the shelf and you are unaware. So basically, storefront visibility gives you better insights in terms of what's being lost out the door, and ensuring that you have that knowledge to be able to replenish as fast as possible. Now, here are some of the other benefits from an inventory visibility. We talked about storefront. Our on-floor visibility will also give you insights into a shrink. So if you're seeing merchandise that is disappearing from the sales floor and it was there and it has not been sold, obviously that tells you that that merchandise is being stolen. So it could allow you to implement programs to try and mitigate future losses. Transaction visibility also is very good at the point of sale, because now it will let you know if there is collusion with the cashiers in terms of what is being sold and what is given out for free to their buddies that are coming through their checkout. And receiving visibility, an important one as well. Most retailers nowadays, what they do is assume receipt. So they receive an advanced shipping notice that tells them that they're going to receive X number of boxes from FedEx, UPS, or whomever. And in those boxes, these are the items that are supposed to be in those boxes, but they don't open the boxes. Obviously, that's very time consuming. So what they're putting in there, so that's why it's called assume receipt. So what they're putting in their shelves, they're assuming is what they ordered and what's on their advanced shipping notice. But as many of you know, as retailers, a lot of times that is an opportunity for distribution center errors, vendor fraud, or they could ship you the wrong product. And now you're putting into your system of record what you think you received, but what you're putting on the shelf is something totally different. And that's going to contribute to the distortion in your inventory and not help with your sell online and pick up in store. So by having RFID, now you could read those tags as they're coming into the store inside the boxes without the need of having to open them. And you could identify any issues, any distortion that is in the boxes in comparison to the advanced shipping notice. And even if you can't correct it at that time, at least what you're putting in your inventory in the floor is the same thing that you're putting in your system of record and keeping them match and accurate. So those are some of the benefits of the visibility of shrink by having an inventory intelligence program embedded. Now, from the storefront standpoint, touching base again on that subject, there are dashboards within TrueView which will give you visibility in terms of items that are being stolen, what is the cost associated with those items, and that allows you to implement programs again to try and mitigate these losses in the future. You could also integrate this with video, so now you could click on a link when you're looking at a specific line item of a product that you lost. For example, if you lost a $400 tool set, DeWalt tool set, you could actually click on that link, pull up the clip for that specific event, and see that video and have a record of the person that actually walked out with that tool set. Okay. Any questions? I think that's what I had planned on showing in terms of products and solutions. So I will stop right there, and I will let Daniel, Christine, and Justin chime in, and anybody else from the audience that has any question on anything that we've covered so far. Okay, Daniel, did you want to add anything to that before I hand it over to Christine? She's going to talk about some of the success stories and use cases that we've had in the DIY and home improvement.
Just briefly in the shopper insights, that was some of the geek stuff that got me excited. Being able to see what was happening, traffic patterns, being able to see total customers coming through compared to sales. Can you take a minute on that real quick?
You mean on the dashboard with the shrink visibility? Was that what you meant, Daniel? Sorry.
More on traffic counting, or even the lingering, where the hot spots were, where the traffic flows were going.
So that was related to the VisionWorks, correct? Yeah. So those are basically agents that are part of our computer vision, and the dwelling and lingering. You'll notice that some of our video solutions, aside from VisualWorks, have lingering and dwelling, but depending on the package that you're interested in as a whole, will determine which solution fits more within your needs. But for example, the lingering detection, that is intended to basically measure what areas of your store are garnering more attention, and that will allow you as a retailer identify, hey, look, we're doing really well on the faucets, or we're doing well on the smart home aisle. A lot of people are going in there and looking at these products, and that allows you to, hey, this is a growing area. Let's expand this portfolio and create more products for that. In terms of shopper journey, what that tells you is which direction and what aisles your customers are spending more time. So maybe you want to have customer service or some of your associates be lingering around those aisles more often, because that's where most of your customers are coming to, and you want to ensure that you have somebody around that area consistently to be able to offer good customer service. Daniel, did I answer your question, or was there anything else that you want to touch on?
No, that's good. I'm still excited about it.
It is exciting technology, and it is very useful.
Christine, you have anything to add?
Christine, are you ready? I'll stop sharing my screen and you could take over.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, good. Yes, I think Justin's actually going to drive for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to take myself off video for just a moment too and say hello to everybody. So thank you again for joining us here today. And really, I'm going to ask Wilfredo, I'm going to turn off my camera here in a minute. I'm going to ask Wilfredo to stay on to kind of keep me honest. But we just want to share a few case studies or success stories that we actually have with some DIYs that have actually implemented our solutions and technologies. So with that, I'm going to let Justin share the screen. Justin, if you will do that.
Yep, just 1 second here. Just having a little bit of technical issues with PowerPoint. Just 1 second.
Great. And just for everyone on this call, I'm part of the indirect channel, the channel organization for Sensormatic. So I deal with our channel partners. I'm really a jack of all trades. So that's who I am within the organization. So I support Daniel in retail automation, in addition to Justin and Wilfredo in different roles. And so that's where I play in all of this. So as Justin, hopefully we'll bring this up.
Yep, pulling it up right now.
Okay.
So you can see my screen.
Okay, and you can move on to the next slide, Justin. So we really just wanted to give you some real life examples of some, again, customers that have actually implemented our solutions and technologies. And you'll hear, particularly in my second example, a lot about what Wilfredo talked about with the technology and then how customers are using it. So in particular, and we're just about to publish this, but we don't have the final blessing, so I didn't use their name, but you might be able to figure some of this out. If you look at the profile, this is a very large operator, and they define themselves as a rural lifestyle retail store in the US. Again, really in the DIY space. They have 1,800 stores across 49 of the 50 states. And they're continuing to expand their market presence because they're opening new stores, again, really in the US. So what's happened is they're getting an increased demand for both their products and their services. As I mentioned, they're planning on expanding with the new store openings, and they're also enhancing their omni-channel presence with initiatives such as buying online and doing the whole pickup in store, right? Which of course everyone's doing more of, partly because of what's happened with COVID. And this is actually pre-COVID, but they're also looking at doing much more going mainstream, right, with some of the online presence. And just as they're trying to change things, they're having a greater impact on the retail industry, particularly in this space. So just a little background on their profile. Justin, you can go on to the next slide.
Mommy, I'm gonna go back outside.
So what they were looking to do, so again, a little bit about them. So they have a very wide range of products. And, you know, just everything that you would find, you know, they not only do they have clothing and all the stuff you'd find like tools and things in a hardware store, but tractors and feeding supplies. And so they have this very wide range of products. They wanted to make sure they were accessible to customers, and they were looking for a way also just, you know, to provide or have an innovative approach to loss prevention. And so they started to transform their whole journey within electronic article surveillance systems so they could support this growth, right, with these new stores and also improve product offerings, again, across this very wide and robust, you know, plate or, you know, that they had of products. They also had quite a diverse customer mix. So they wanted to keep a personalized in-store shopping experience for their customers. And ultimately, they wanted to connect the EAS solution and get insights right to the data and their customers while better protecting their merchandise so they could reduce their shrink and ultimately increase their sales. Okay. So kind of, you know, nothing probably new, right? They wanted to watch the theft. Again, as they're expanding and they have such a wide product range, kind of how do they do this and get insights into the data? So that kind of summarizes it. So that's what they were looking to do. Justin, on to the next slide. So what they did is they actually installed the Sensormatic Synergy storefront detection system with our acoustomagnetic technology, which I know Wilfredo talked you through. So that was installed to help manage shrink and maximize their investments for EAS, the electronic article surveillance. What this also enabled was visual and audible alarms so that the staff was able to respond more quickly, and also provided distinction from the different events, whether it was theft, and also detected, you know, jammer detection. And it also, through the system, captured actionable data across different areas from an operational perspective, really, so they could better optimize the store performance and profitability. In addition, you know, with the system, they installed detachers, deactivators, hard tags in the new stores, right? They were rolling out these new stores, as well as existing stores that maybe currently didn't have any type of protection. And then there also, you know, there's future plans to continue to deploy the EAS to reduce shrink, particularly in products where there's high theft. And overall, all of this is going to increase their sales and improve the ROI. Okay, and there's a little more detail on this case study, but just kind of an overview. And then Justin, go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So what this did, you know, the synergy allowed them to take the high shrink merchandise that they were, you know, they didn't want to have open, right, because it was more likely for theft, but they were able to now do it because they're protecting it. So they're making it accessible to customers, which is increasing their sales significantly in certain product categories. And then with the technology and the data collection, In addition with that, it's allowing them to deliver both the in-store and online experience for the customer, so increasing customer sats. Just overall, as I mentioned, the solution with EAS is decreasing their overall shrink. It's increasing the margins, right? Again, because they're also allowing some of their higher end merchandise, they're to be able and open, and uplifting sales because of that open merchandising. And then just in general, as Wilfredo talked about, our magnetic technology minimizes shrink, maximizes investments, so the staff can respond more quickly with the customizable alarms. We're intelligently capturing data and just overall improving the loss prevention with the synergy. So again, this is an example. Wilfredo talked about what this stuff does in general, and here's very high level, an actual customer that implemented it, and a little bit about them, what they put in, and kind of what it did for them. And again, we have a write-up on this. I kind of summarized it with some slides. Wilfredo, anything you might want to add?
This is like a textbook sort of benefits that you get from EAS. Obviously, there are immediate benefits. Typically, EAS reduces your external shrink by 50%. But what Christine mentioned there in terms of removing item that is locked up in a shelf and putting it out so customers can actually access it themselves and be self-service, that is something that has been proven years and over that increases sales dramatically, because making the item actually accessible to your customer opposed to having it locked up in a cabinet is something that basically hinders the sales of those particular products. So that is one of the big benefits that this retailer saw by being able to do this and remove those items out of a locked cabinet.
Thank you. Okay. Justin, you can go on to the next slide, and a little bit different format here. So this one, again, I've not included the name to protect the customer, though you may be able to figure out this one. They're a big box DIY. They're the largest home improvement retailer in the U.S., supplying tools, construction services. So again, that's who they are. We've actually worked with them more strategically. And if you've looked at kind of some of the discussions we've had with them, this slide encapsulates it with, we've really begun the journey towards a one connected experience. So, they're looking to connect associates to the customer's needs, connect products and services to the customer's needs, connect product to the shelf, site, customer, interconnect experiences with the store online and online to the store, and then just innovating the business model and the value chain, right? It's really, again, all about connecting to the customer and the way the customer wants to buy and the customer's experience, which more and more people, are looking for. And ultimately with this, and we're working with them on this with futures, with a lot of these connections. But in addition, they wanted to make sure, and they do leverage our loss prevention solutions just in general to protect merchandise and reduce shrink. So in addition to the overall and where they're going, they're trying to protect their merchandise and shrink today. Justin, you can go on to the next slide. So in addition to things we're going to be working on with them in the future, they have implemented our EAS solutions, with AMRF, RFID, and again, Wilfredo could probably add more color, including detection systems, sensors, deactivators, detachers, and analytics. What I just want to talk a little bit on, and again, Wilfredo really gave you, he talked about this, is they've done and are continuing to do things with video investments, including what's called EPVM, right, which is Enhanced Public View Monitors. These are used to minimize deviant behavior. It's a situational crime prevention technique, really to help proactively mitigate shoplifting. Obviously, it's going to save dollars in theft. So they've looked at this, and we've worked with them on implementing this, and then we've also worked with them on implementing TrueView, right, which is the whole inventory intelligence and the RFID that Wilfredo talked about. And so there's just a few slides on this and kind of what they've done. So Wilfredo, Justin, you can go on to the next slide.
Yeah, no, something that I wanted to add there, Christine. Yeah, this is a retailer that actually implemented RFID at a pilot level to test on their tools. And what they wanted is they wanted to know what they were losing and how much and who. And they were able to, they actually shared a video with us where a guy came in with a motorcycle helmet, grab a cart, put this big DeWalt tool set on it, and he just walked out the contractor door without stopping, and nobody stopping him. And with the camera and the actual RFID read at the exit, they were able to identify the actual item that was tagged and was lost, and they had a video of the person as well. So those are the things that they found as very positive.
Thank you, Wilfredo. And I actually think we have a picture of it. And just quickly here, because I know we're running short of time. So with the EPVM solution, there is a built-in camera. It's really focused on loss prevention. There's eye-level theft deterrent, and Wilfredo probably talked about some of this. They saw measurable drops in theft. You can program, your logo into the firmware, and when motion is detected, the image can switch from the logo to the camera. So when it goes to the camera, it catches the shoplifter's attention that, wow, now there's a camera on me. And then images of the video can also play from a built-in SD card player. So just a little bit of background on that. Justin, next slide. And there is, if it will run here, we'll try it. This is actually a live kind of video of the EPVM and how it kind of, what it looks like. And Wilfredo, feel free to add anything.
Yeah, and there are multiple studies that we've actually worked with, the LPRC up in Gainesville, where they've actually shown the benefits of having EPVMs in retail. Obviously, a lot of thieves are very conscious that when they are about to commit theft, that their image is going to be recorded on video. So it does work as a very good deterrent in basically showing the video of the person. And these are installed either throughout the store or at a specific area where it's either high theft or high cost items to try and in an effort to reduce or mitigate theft in that specific area.
Okay, so that's that example. And then Justin, next slide, and I'm going to go quickly here. The other thing is EPVM, you could also do media PVM, and so that's available as well. I think we kind of missed a slide there. I don't know. There we go. And it gives you loss prevention and digital signage, also helps reduce shrink, boost sales. The screen content with the media is customizable, and you can update the content with Ethernet or Wi-Fi, and then you can run ads, at targeted times. So it's just really, you could do media PVM and ePVM. And I think there's a picture, actually, Justin, if you hit one more time, let's see if it works. There you go. And that's what that looks like. And Wilfredo, anything you want to just add really quickly about media PVM?
Yeah, the media PVMs is a combination, obviously, of a PVM and media. So a lot of retailers, what they do is they actually sell that media space to some of their vendors. And now retailers can run videos on that and send it to all their stores at once, and they could create playlists. So for example, if they know that the contractors come in the morning, they could put specific content that is tailored for the content, opposed to the afternoons when you have your typical do-it-yourselfer. Then you want to change that content and not have the same content throughout the whole day. So it could be used to promote new tools or new services or anything that you'd like to be promoting at a store level. And that can be, if it's installed in multiple stores, that same playlist can be sent to all the stores at once.
Great, thank you. And Justin, next one, and And again, I'm trying to move quickly here. So the other thing, so they implemented that with the PDM. And then the other thing, as Wilfredo was talking about, they also did implement RFID and TrueView, right? And so this, as he said, really gives inventory intelligence, right? So it gives you visibility to the shrink with the RFID. So Justin, next slide really quickly, just so I can give a few examples here. So for example, this is actually a report. So again, it can give visibility to the loss. You know, this is an example of a real loss report. So just wanted to show how, you know, it actually will talk about the loss. There's the site, the date and time, the department, if there's a description of it, and, you know, what the article was. It actually gives you the actual article number. So wanted to give you a picture, and you could actually see there's actually the chart that is even showing, right? You can pull the data to get a graphic that shows by hour when potentially, you know, you're seeing loss. Okay, and I think there's 82 total cases here. And again, Wilfredo, feel free to add or comment on this.
Yeah, that's similar to what I showed you during the presentation. That's just the itemized report of the losses of everything that is lost. Here you're going to see a lot of unknowns because this was a pilot and apparently they didn't have everything in the product file, but you'd notice that they were focusing on the tools. And obviously you have one set of tools there that was stolen at the lumber door, a specific time. And not sure if they cut it out because I know this particular store had video integration as well, where they could click on a link and pull a video of that event.
Okay, next slide, Justin. We might even have this. We might even have it. Yeah, and then this is just another report. These are customer visits and conversion rates, right? So they took our traffic counting sensors that we have implemented for them, and they're reporting on the number of customers entering the store. And as they look at alarms, they could distinguish between inbound, outbound, and non-directional, and they use the TrueView software to generate these conversion reports. Okay, by zones. And Justin, go on to the next slide again. I know we're over here. I think this is the one that going back to this is now a combination with RFID and video. And again, I'll let Wilfredo talk to this. He mentioned it earlier. So this is the guy, the motorcycle guy that stole. And so the identified unknown subject entered the property with a motorcycle, specifically stating where it came from. They entered the store, state the entrance. And then he, you know, located what he wanted and took what he wanted and off he went. And Wilfredo, again, I think you know more about this than I do. So.
Yeah, that was a store in Canada, and that's exactly the one I was talking about. Now, obviously, this person was kind of clever. He kept his helmet on, but I'm not sure the external cameras caught the tag on his bike. But obviously, that tool set, I think it was valued at several $100s, so it was a significant loss. But basically, that allows them as a retail identify what they're losing, and again, I'm not sure if they investigated this case further to try and prosecute the person because it was a significant theft.
All right. And then Justin, I think the next one may actually officially be our last slide. Yeah, so then again, with the storefront visibility too, and Wilfredo talked about this, they also have this, right? So this is really the EAS combined with the RFID. So they have implemented this so they can understand when, which, and how many items were stolen, identifying their trends in the merchandise loss and shoplifting. And this is ceiling mounted. And again, as Wilfredo said, we're utilizing RFID with our EAS. So these are some of the things they implemented and how they were using it. And again, we just wanted to kind of give you two examples of two different DIYs and how they were using some of our technology and what it did for their business. So we can get you more information, but that kind of is a summary on that. Any questions or comments? And I know we're a few minutes over.
Christine, Justin, Wilfredo, I want to thank you for the time. I don't know if we have any other pertinent questions. Since we're over on time, I think in summary, basically, we see some of these big box stores that are that have invested in their technology, but that technology is also available to some of our smaller hardware stores, and that is where we come in. That's where retail automation comes in, and I know it's an investment, but it is scalable, and I think that's also important where we can come in at a lower price point for you, and then come in and give you something where you can build upon. So we may be able to work with some of your existing infrastructure, and scalability is a big thing for us. So I think that's a great thing. Again, thank you to Craig Cope and the Hardware Connection. Feel free to check out his magazine if you have not. If you are new to the Hardware Connection, check it out. Check out our ad coming up next week in the February digital edition. If we don't have any other questions, I do thank you for joining us. Thank you for the time, and you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, everyone.